I have some holiday gift ideas for the sewer in your family, or it actually could be you if you are the sewer. Don't be afraid to buy your own gifts. So my list is about something the sewer might not necessarily buy for themselves. It's not going to be the basic tools that you need for everyday sewing, but something extra, something that will add a little bit of ease into your sewer's life. Because to me, that's what gift giving is all about. It's about picking out gifts that somebody might not necessarily buy on their own, but maybe they secretly have been wanting these things, or maybe they haven't even thought of them. But I hope that they will all love these gifts once they receive them. So most of these items on my list are about $15 to $25 in price range, with one little bit extra, and we'll get to that at the end. All right, first on my list is a planner, a journal. Many people use journals for everyday life to keep track of what they have to do and what they have coming up. But there's also a whole slew of sewing journals, and they can be really amazing and handy for that sewer in your life. Anyway, a sewing journal is a great place to jot down those ideas. So definitely, I'm going to need one for 2024, and maybe the sewer in your life will need as well. Next on my list is a sewing basket or a telephone call. Next on my list is a sewing basket. This one was gifted to me by my mother many years ago, and these can be really personal for your sewer. So it might be hard to pick out exactly what they want, but they have so many really pretty varieties that I actually don't see how you could go wrong. Your basic sewing basket, this one has a top that can be used as a pin cushion, and inside it has many sections for your pins, for your tools and your pins, and even a shelf where you can store things underneath your needles. So this I pull out all the time, especially when I have hand sewing to do. And it makes a great gift because these are really beautiful and will look good on a shelf. Next on my list is a mystery box. Many of the online fabric companies have mystery boxes that you can buy that have 10, 20 yards of fabric in them, and it is a complete surprise. I really like this kind of gift because, especially if you're a new sewer, you might not know how to sew on certain types of fabric, and these boxes can have polyester or cotton, or some of mine have even silk. And for instance, Fabric Mart makes one that's 10 yards for $20, so they can also be a really affordable gift. And you might want to toss in a couple of zippers and buttons if you're gifting a new sewer, because that's something that they can really experiment with. So buy them just some experimentation fabric and give them a chance to practice their sewing. I actually don't have fabric itself on my list because I feel like that's a very personal decision as well. And one of the best things about being a sewer is actually going fabric shopping. So I wouldn't want to take that away from somebody I'm gifting. Now on to something that I'm sure every sewist has, but I want to recommend this specific iron for a couple of reasons. I had a really heavy iron before. Yeah, these things can get really heavy, and that just wasn't for me. I also had a very small iron before, and that was recalled because it apparently burned a lot of people. So I had to buy a new one, and I settled on this Black & Decker, and it is super light. And it's a good size too, which makes it really useful for the sewer in your life. So if they're struggling with a heavy iron, or if they're using one of those little itty bitty ones, consider getting something like this because it's really easy to use. This gift falls in the category of, I doubt any sewer would buy this for themselves, but this tool is so handy and I'm really happy I bought it. It's actually a bobbin winder. You use it so you don't have to use your sewing machine. I always forget how to wind my bobbins on my machine. So when I saw this, I had to have one. And the benefit is not only is it easy to use, you just put your thread up there and your bobbin there, and it just winds all by itself. You don't have to unthread your machine. So sometimes what I do, if I start a project, I just make a couple of bobbins in the color of thread I need. But this thing has been really handy for me and not something that everybody would buy. So it's actually the perfect gift. Next up, I'm going to recommend a book. And this is something, again, that's pretty personal. This is a pattern book. So patterns can be tricky to buy for your sewer because, again, that's one thing I really like about sewing is actually picking out my own patterns. And also I have to make sure that they're in the correct size. But this book I feel like is a little extra special. This is actually the Mimi G Make It Yours. She actually has 7 full-size patterns and 18 modifications. This book I just got, so I haven't used it yet, but it looks super awesome. And the reason I love Mimi G is her patterns are really for the full-figured person like me, so I am very excited to try it out. And it also has some useful tips and tricks in it. So it's really a comprehensive set of patterns with some sewing instructions, and I think it would make the perfect gift. I'm happy I gifted it to myself. Next up is back to ironing. Apparently I love ironing. Actually, that's true. My mom used to make me iron my dad's shirts all the time when I was younger, and boy did I hate it. And one of the reasons I did not like ironing because that ironing board, especially the ones that they make today, those things are so wobbly. And I can't tell you how many times my iron has fallen off my ironing board because I'll accidentally dent this fragile little thing and it wobbles and the iron falls off. Well, my solution to that is this. It's an ironing mat that you can use on any surface. You can put it right on your sewing, your cutting board, or any tabletop that you have nearby. And it's solid. So no longer do you have to worry about your ironing board toppling over. And your sewing space does not need to be cluttered up with an iron anymore. You can just whip this thing out, do your ironing, and fold it up and put it away. I actually find that that works really well. I have to go get the next thing. I'll be right back. There, it's a thread holder. I used to keep my thread in a box, and every time I needed to pick out a thread that matched the fabric I was working on, I had to rifle through this box, and it was really hard, and the thread got tangled, and let me tell you, that's a really silly way to store your thread. But I didn't know what else to do with it. I couldn't just store it on my cutting table or out in the open. But this is the perfect solution, and I go to this all the time, and I can't believe I didn't buy one of these sooner. That's why I think it makes a really good gift, because somebody, another sewer, might be in the same state that I am, not sure what to do with their threads, and they just can't commit to buying a thread holder. So this way, they don't have to buy it themselves. What's nice about this is not only can you keep it on a counter, you can actually hang it on the wall. Okay, next up, how many times have I said that? Next up, I think this is 8. So I've said it 8 times. It's a freehand fashion book. So back to those patterns, this is a really good gift for a sewer because if they master these techniques, they will no longer have to buy patterns. And let me tell you, patterns can get really expensive. Sure, you can find deals. It can be $3 to $5 a piece, $7 a piece, but they add up quick, especially if you buy over 100 like I have. The best thing about this book is it teaches you how to measure yourself and how to make a block. It teaches you how to make a bodice block, a dress block, a skirt block, and a sleeve block. And once you master this, you might not need any more patterns. Now, the reason this is a really good gift is that your typical sewer like me, especially if I've only been sewing for a year, I would be way too frightened to even try creating a bodice block on my own. So if somebody gave me this book, I would be more inclined to try because I want to make the gifter happy, right? I would want to show that I enjoyed their gift, and at least I tried something out of it. Now, I'm not saying that a person giving a gift requires you to feel happy and obliged to make whatever you give them. Certainly not, but why not give it a try if somebody gives you something like this? And I think I'll stop now because I'm really saying give a lot. But heck, it's the season of giving. I have one last thing to show you. Yes, it's a Serger. This brother's Serger was about 280 bucks. Everything else on my list has been between $15 and $25, but this one is the most expensive. And I put it on here for basically the same reason why I put the rest of the things on here. This is something that your average sewer probably wouldn't want to get. Look at how complicated it appears. You have 4 of everything, 4 thread holders, 4 needles, 4 tension adjusters, and threading this thing can be a bear, let me tell you. I'll just be straight with you. It's a little fussy to start, but actually using it, it's actually a lot easier than a sewing machine. And especially if you're working on a lot of knits, you can make a knit, a t-shirt, a dress, or even a knit sweater. Well, you're not going to do your own knitting, you're going to buy the fabric. You can make that super fast with something like this. I have heard many sewers say, well, I can't afford one, or it looks too complicated, or they're just not ready for it. Well, gift it to them and see, hopefully, the sparkle of joy in their eye. You might see a lot of fear as well, but let me tell you, I think this is a great gift if you want to give your sewer a lot something extra. So, can you hear my dog? He's really thirsty. So, that's all I had on my list today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you find some inspiration. Okay, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.